That was something. Hello everyone, dear graduates, friends, family, administration, teachers, and all the speakers today. Today we have the honour of standing before you, not to sing to you, as we tend to often do, because funnily enough, in this class of very marvellously musically talented people, we seem to be the only people who can't sing. But we can talk a lot, which is also why we brought Theodore.
First things first. You might be wondering why, out of a class of 20, we've got a valedictorian speech of 3. Well, relatively easy task yet. Think again. As Aristotle say, when we hate, we know we love. In truth, it was a very hard decision, as all of us wanted to represent the 3 years we have spent together. So 3 it was, even though it might be the end of the season show. Our final ball is yet to come. But first, let's rewind.
So, second year. We started as a blank piece of paper, which we did not have. We're supposed to have a piece of paper. Where's the piece of paper?
Technical problem.
Yes, the song has a piece of paper.
We like to be metaphorical, so.
So we started out as a blank piece of paper, nothing written on it. And so we arrived from many different places. We traveled far and wide from the Gare, from Agde, Clermont, Quillan, and some not to be outdone, of course, from slightly further like Australia or the USA. We were all thrown into the same boat, full of doubt mingled with excitement about what was to come, the coming years, and how right we were. Through discovering literature, American history, and high school life, we soon realized how awesome this ride was going to be. We were first confronted with the scary sight of the American Ross, and his loud voice and constant singing soon became everyday background noise, talking about noise which qualifies our class quite well. It all started out at our Thanksgiving show. We sung, we danced, and it really hasn't never stopped since then, and perhaps has gotten worse. So our first year leads us to meet many friends like Edgar, Arthur, Richard, and finally our best friend and probably lifelong friend, like we have the choice, William. So our motto for the second year was sponsored by Ross and was "Stay awesome."
Premier year, upper level. We have knowledge on the paper or in our heads, a little bit filled. We felt relatively accustomed to our environment and ready to face the year head on. But we did not anticipate the first essay. The past is not a package you can lay away. Indeed, these years are not packages that we can just lay away. We were probably not ready to sacrifice our Wednesday afternoons for a mad Prince of Elsinore and having to leave 3 minutes early for Mrs. Mackiger's gym. But oh boy, we were ready for New York. But the true question was New York ready for us? But all this you already know from our last show, our effervescent nature, as our beloved teachers put it.
Damn, Nadia. No comment. Well, no, I'm joking. The epitome of it all. Good and bad. Pressure and joy. Work and games. Okay, we'll stop with the conflicting images. We're just too disturbed with the impact and use of contrast that we had to talk about yesterday in our final exam. Yep, final, that's it. We were told that this year we would fly by, but we didn't quite expected it would be that fast.
So, what have we learned after these years? Well, first of all, we've learned how to write essays well. Well, we hope. We've learned to not be afraid to do things last minute, much unlike this speech. This experience has enlightened many of us in a variety of different areas. Some have learned to manage to walk around Montpellier without getting hit by a tram. Roxanne. Others have learned that the correct English is British English, and that Caribbean is not spelled and not said Caribbean, Kevin?
Some have learned to appreciate Zoe's and Mary's insistent talking, whatever the day. Even at 6 o'clock in the morning, eh, girls?
So, think about... No. What do you mean, no? So we've also learned that gravity is strong. But stronger for some, like Marianne, for example. We've also learned that being small is supposedly the best, as small people tend to be more intelligent. For example, Bethida, Marie, also Nora, Celia, and me.
Debatable.
But most of all, what we have learned is from our marvelous teachers. This speech is also dedicated to you. Thank you for your hard work, your investment, and putting up with us, even at our loudest.
Thank you for Mr. Whelan for testing our limits by scaring us when asking us to put on a show, an impromptu theatre production on the spot. But I do think we had our turn in traumatising you during our our trip in New York. Sorry. I'm sure the sound of September by Earth, Wind and Fire will never leave your mind.
Thank you to Mrs. Wilson. You have brought out the best in us, and also the worst at times. Indeed, the game shows did test the limits of our friendship. Some would call it friendly competition. Others would call it gladiator arena.
Thank you to you, Mrs. Shabani, for long philosophical class discussions that went on many classes. Perhaps our insistent talking on both sides led us to struggle with time, but we'll never forget the flourishness of our lessons with you.
Thank you to Mrs. Julian for your limitless knowledge and teaching, and also your sarcastic remarks. For instance, towards Mylis, please, if you have anything to say, can you tell us something about the lesson? And finally, and also, Johan, apparently you have never read many textbooks. I can assure you, I do think he has read a few textbooks.
And finally, one we can never forget, there is a Master Yoda in Star Wars, there is a Mrs. Macaga for the Anglo-American section. Your guidance, belief in us, and assuring winks led us through these past 3 years and will guide us through the rest. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We would also like to thank our parents, who for the most part stuck with us and supported us through thick and thin, even when they thought we were crazy and working ourselves much too hard. We would also like to thank them for feeding us and making sure we made it here today.
And thank you, of course, for America, for their amazing implication in everything to do with the tech section and much more over the past years.
So, to continue with the metaphor of the blank paper, we came in as you all took us in as blank pages, enabled us to grow, and for that we will be eternally grateful. Thank you. You also all stay with us as we advance into the new chapter of our journey, always staying awesome, and hopefully we will fly.
To do it, so...
To quote one of the greatest philosophers of our time, Winnie the Pooh, how lucky I am to make saying goodbye, to have people that make saying goodbye so hard.
wanted to address this last part of this valedictorian speech with perhaps a more personal message, really saying that these few years have been really great, and I think the reason why we're having such a hard time saying goodbye is because of all of you, and because of all of what we've done together, all of what we have made together, all of this journey that we have done, and now, like birds, we open the cage's door and we fly out. And for a few last words, because you know concision is my best. No, for last words, I just wanted to say that there is that we all 25 of us form an electric chain upon the scaffold, and we will always be together. Now I think I perhaps have only a few more words to say, and I think that's how I want you to remember us. People, we out.